No matter what you sell, you have people selling a product or service similar to what you have. The features may not be too different. What's going to separate you? How are you going to distinguish yourself and actually make more money and stand out from your competitors? Well, today you're in luck. I'm going to share some principles from this amazing book called Sell It Like a Mango. Hey, look who wrote it. Oh, sucky, now it's getting real. Hey everyone, welcome to another great episode of the Sales Evangelist Podcast. I'm your host, Donald C. Kelly, the Sales Evangelist. And I'm so excited for another great episode. I'm so excited to be here with you today. And on this episode, we're going to talk about my book. Man, it's called Sell It Like a Mango. Now, Sell It Like a Mango is a book that I've been working on for a number of years, actually about 6 years. Now, the principle behind the book, as I talked about in the teaser, is about how you can stand out from your competitors. I'm going to tell you the whole story and all the details and all the fun stuff and give you some ideas that you can take advantage of. If this is your first time listening to my podcast or watching one of our videos, go ahead and subscribe. Now, the premise behind the book is that when I grew up in Jamaica and I was going to the market, we would see people selling the same exact product. I mean, the fruits that they're selling, it's not like the fruits coming from like Indonesia or anything. It's grown right there in Jamaica. So the mango that this person is selling and that person are all from the same area. I mean, the mangoes are like relatives. What's going to separate your mango from the competitor's mango? When they're all the same, what's making one person succeed over the other? And the idea is that it's not about the product per se, it's about you as the seller. What are the things that you have in place? I remember when I started selling software, or even before that, when I would sell other services and I saw people were doing the same exact thing as I was. The only way that I thought about that I could differentiate myself and my company was to lower my price. We're the cheapest. But we all know what happens when you do that. If you start lowering your price, your competitors will lower their price, and it's just going to be a price war to the bottom, and you're both not going to make money, and the prospect's going to walk away feeling like, man, these people are trying to rip me off. I'm able to get them to drop their price by 50%. Like, that's not the way selling is supposed to be. If your product has value, you sell it at that value. And this is why I created this book. So when I created the book, I broke it down, and we have 10 chapters in this book. I'm gonna name off some of them for you and give you some ideas that you can take and apply. So some of the chapters is like the truth about selling. I point out some of the misconceptions that people have about sales. Like one of the top misconceptions I had was that my role as a sales rep was to convince the buyer to make a purchase. Now this may sound like something that is, quite obvious. Like my role and my job is to convince people, but it's not. Your role is to educate people enough to convince themselves to make a purchase. Now go back to what Jeffrey Gitomer says. He says that people love to buy, but they hate to be sold. So no one wants to be pushed into purchasing something. Now, if you, as a B2B seller, now think about this from the perspective of your customers. If someone comes to you and tell you, hey, I was sold a car, or I was sold a house, or I was sold a TV, or sold a software, like that person, that customer probably is feeling like they didn't have ownership or part of that process, that they were swindled or bamboozled or tricked into getting something. But if someone tells you, hey, I bought a house, I bought a car, I bought a software, I bought the service, like if they invested in it, they feel like they're a part of the process, because again, people love to buy, but they hate to be sold. My job, I thought, based on the movies, was to trick them in whatever way possible to make this purchase. But that doesn't make great sellers. That make great con artists. And your job is not to be a con artist. Your job is to help people to make decisions, to invest in themselves, to make a change. Now, one that I really like that I applied when I first started selling software was I looked at my competitors. I saw what they were doing, the type of customers they had in their case study, and I figured if those people are buying from them and seeing success, maybe we could do the same exact thing. So I started targeting the same type of clients, and lo and behold, it worked. The point is there are many different strategies on how you can identify people who are ready to buy. And you could check this out in the book. I pointed out masterfully, so you're gonna love it. Think like an entrepreneur. This one is awesome as well, because oftentimes sales reps, we don't have the business on our backs. Like, think about it. If you don't make a sale, or if you don't close a deal, if you don't hit quota, it's not like your company is going to go out of business. Your company is established, right? They have people, they have method, they can get loans, your CEO can figure things out. However, as an entrepreneur, when you're running your business, you ain't got nobody else to help you out. This is you. If things fall apart, it's back on you. How do you stand out and be successful? How do you continue to make sure that you go through adversities and still succeed? The same idea is what I would like for you to adopt in your role as a seller. You must become that entrepreneur of your territory, of your area. Think like there's nobody else that's gonna come and help you, and you need to be successful. Everyone depends on you. And the sales reps who could think like entrepreneur or intrapreneur, they're inside of a business and they act like an entrepreneur. Man, these people find creative ways to get in front of their prospects and to be successful. Same principles I learned. The street cart vendors in Jamaica, they're all entrepreneurs. Some of them borrow money, they have debt. And you know what? Listen, they have to figure out a way to make it happen. It's all on their shoulders, and they do it. And the same thing can apply to you. But if you think like a sales rep, you're just gonna be a sales rep and just work in a company. You're gonna act like a sales rep. But a person who thinks and act and behave like an entrepreneur, come on, man, they get the entrepreneur reward. They close more deals. They become the top performer. And that's one of the top abilities that I've seen with top performing sellers. They behave like entrepreneurs. Ooh, it's amazing. Chapter 8 is all about the platinum rule. The idea behind this is that you need to think about it from your buyer's perspective. Like, so often we want to sell things the way that we like to sell things, or we want to buy things the way that we like to buy things. But you got to think about it from your buyer's perspective. Sell to them the way that they would like to buy. Treat people the way that they would like to be treated. And the story behind this one, I remember when I first started selling software, my family's income at that time was like $25,000 to $30,000 a year, like straight up. The most money that my mom ever had at one given time probably was like $3,000, and that came from income tax time of the year. So I started to think when I was selling software, and the software was like when I started selling IT training classes, and IT training classes were like $10,000. 10 grand. I was thinking, man, there's no way people could afford this. Like, who's gonna pay this much? Remember, the most amount of money that my family ever had at one given time was like $3,000 in the bank, and that didn't last long because we had debt to pay and so forth. So now I would think in this scarcity mindset and this limited thinking that, man, people are not gonna wanna invest that money. That's too much money. But it turns out that people did wanna buy that. And because of because I was apprehensive of telling them about it and selling it at that price, I made it awkward for people, and I didn't close as many deals. It wasn't until I realized and understood what was really going on. When people were coming to the IT training school that we had, these folks were coming from military, and they had government grants and GI Bill to invest in their education. When they got these certifications and they could go get a job in the IT world, man, they would make money. They would make really, really good money. Or perhaps the company that they worked for, they wanted to get them to get certified because they wanted to prevent their computers and their systems and network from being hacked. Like, think about that. If you got hacked by some company that doing ransomware or whatever, and they tell you in order to get your information back or whatever, you have to pay like $1 million. $1 million versus getting your techs trained for like $10,000. I mean, it's a no-brainer, right? So this is the idea. You got to understand value. So when I think about a platinum rule, don't think about it from yourself. Think about it from your buyer's perspective. Sell to them the way that they would like to buy. And I break this down and outline in a book like how you can go about doing this, how you can apply the platinum rule, how it helped me, and how it can help you as a seller to stand out from your competitors. It talks about nothing happens until you help people make commitment. And this is really closing. Like, so often I remember that I didn't help people make a commitment to change because I felt awkward. I tried to make the closing an event. I was like, man, this is leading up to it. I got the appointment. I gave them a demo. Now we got the proposal. It's gonna close now. And I just made this so big and so like a big distraction that it actually scared the prospects away. And I didn't assure them that this was going to work. I didn't give them I wasn't their guide that held them hand in hand and guided them down the process. And that sucked. It wasn't until I learned that you need to ensure that nothing happens. You need to understand that nothing happens until you help people to make commitments. So I started doing micro commitments throughout the process. I started helping my prospects to not only sign up for a demo, but also get them to do homework. I got them to give us NDAs or give us documents for the demo, so I can customize a demo toward them. The more I got them to do little micro commitments throughout the process, it made it so easy for them to make the big commitment or to invest in going forward. And there's a strategy I talk about assuring the sale, and you could see this in the book as well, how I outline what happened to me in one of my sales experience and how I was able to close my largest deal ever by applying this deal of assuring the sale and not assuming it. And I know some of you might say, yeah, Donald, I learned assuming the sale. I'm gonna tell you, in my case, and then especially in the book, I throw that crap out the window. Assure the sale, don't assume the sale. You know what happened when you assume. You make a out of you and me. So don't assume, assure the sale. I mean, this book is full of these ideas and full of different strategies and tips you can take advantage of, and I would love for you to check it out. Get the first chapter for free. Go to thesalesevangelist.com/mango, or if you want to do your brother a solid and buy the book, go to thesalesevangelist.com/mango, click on purchase it there, or go on Amazon and purchase it, or just search Sell It Like a Mango online. And no matter what you sell, no matter who you sell it to, I want you to stand out so you can thrive and succeed. I want you to find more ideal customers. I want you to know how to close. I want you to know what to say to them when you speak to them. I want you to know how to close more deals. I want you to go out and do big things. And no matter what you sell, I want you to sell it like a mango.